On a lighter note, which is that one discovery you've made about Soha in this lockdown, which you had not discovered in the years that you've been together and married?
I have actually, and Soha and I know each other pretty well. So I have to say that I had expected it, and she lived up to my expectations.
This is my second interaction with you in these 5 months. In one, you are a man who's basically getting away from the cops. Now you're a cop on the chase. So which one was fun?
They're both fun. Now I know what it feels like to be on both sides, right?
So Abhay 2, it's season 2. So tell me a bit about Abhay Pratap Singh. Did he resonate with you, and any similarities you drew between him and yourself as a person?
Very few, actually. I think what excited me about him was the fact that he was so different, and he was also like, I hadn't Kalank or Malang had also not happened when Abhay came to me. So this was actually the first time when season 1 was happening that I was excited to do something which was not comedy. And I love crime. I love investigative shows or films. And it was an opportunity to play a part that I've always enjoyed others doing. And it was a world that really appealed to me for its darkness, for its complicacies, for the kind of man that he is. And the kind of life that he's had and the kind of life that he's living on a day-to-day basis. And also in long format, what's nice is that you get to live a character over a longer period of time.
True.
And so you can understand a lot more and bring about a lot more nuances slowly. You don't have to just show it like all at once, right? So it was all very interesting for me, and I really enjoyed playing Abhay for the fact that he's so different, not just from who I am as a person, but from all the other characters that I'd played so far. And I'd never played a cop, and I used to always feel like, I cannot take myself seriously as a cop. I was very nervous when I kind of took this on. But I'm very happy that it worked, and people liked it, and that's why we are doing season 2 now. And I really hope that it works this time as well.
And also, I saw the body transformation that happened for Abhay. I mean, you earlier posted pictures, the workout and everything. Do you feel that you had put a lot more in for this character vis-a-vis your others?
Yes and no, because I think as an actor, that's the only physical thing that you can bring to a character of how do you see them physically. And I think with Abhay, because he's a cop who's also physically strong, and like there are a couple of action sequences, I wanted to kind of make it real in a way that how a tough cop would be. And that's why even in Loot Case, he's an average normal guy, the way his hair is, the way his stubble is, or his body is. So I really enjoy kind of bringing these little changes to what I can. And also it's hugely dependent of what you're doing after, before, and how much time you have to bring that change, right? Because like when Malang happened, that needed some time to transform my physique, like how Michael Rodriguez is in the film. And so similarly for Abhay, and even though the gyms are shut, it's been tough to kind of train.
I can imagine. And who said our actor's life was easy? Yeah, I mean, sometimes you need to lose weight, sometimes you need to bulk up, and people here think cushy lives these guys have. Such a misnomer.
They're always going to be positives and negatives. You have certain pluses, but then there are certain minuses. We don't have a fixed schedule ever. There is no Sunday in our life, and then there can be a month that is a Sunday that you don't want to have in your life. So I mean, every profession comes with its pluses and minuses, but I think there is a lot to be happy about being an actor, and I think there are a lot more pluses also. But yeah, there is a lot of hard work that goes into being one.
I was listening to one of your interviews where you said you were underutilized. And I'll be honest, I have followed your career from the time Hame Rahi Pyar Ke, Raja Hindustani, Zakham, and then the movies came. And, the thing is, you have done crime. You've done, you play the antagonist. But why is it so that everybody wants to see you in a comic role? Why is Golmaal stuck vis-a-vis Malang and Kalank and Abhay?
I think it's also because it's the easiest to consume, and you can consume it whenever and wherever, and you don't really need to be in a certain mood. A comedy, like even for me, a comedy is the most easiest thing to pick up. And it's also, and that's amazing about comedy, is because it's actually a tough genre to be good at. And I know that some of my favorite stars are comic actors, like whether it's Steve Carell, who's my all-time favorite, or even Jim Carrey, because it's very tough to kind of make you laugh and make you laugh again and again and again. And because it's the most easiest of the genres to consume, and you don't really have to be in a certain state of mind to say, okay, you know, I'm going to sit and take 2 days off and then watch Mindhunter. Whereas a Friends or a Family Guy, you can just pick up anytime in office, you know, you're eating food. And because it's a slightly more massy and more easier genre to see, I think people do enjoy watching it a lot more. And I'm very happy actually to even be in that esteemed company of people who are good at comedies.
But sometimes doesn't it get frustrating for you as an actor? Like, hey guys, approach me for this. Why are you just approaching me for that?
No, of course. It's very easy to get, you know, typecasted and like just get all of that. And that's what was happening with me. Like, one or two off still came, but they were not good enough or did not have meat enough for me to jump on. And yes, at some point I was like, I also enjoy doing comedy a lot, but you always as an actor yearn to do something that is now slightly different from this. But again, very lucky to get Abhay, Kalank and Malang in the very same space of time.
And, you know, I'll be very honest with you. In Kalank, the only person who stayed with me when I, you know, walked out of the theater was you.
Thank you.
And for me, for a moment, was like, Kunal Khemo, no, seeing you in those shades, I was like, no, he can't do this. He's not supposed to do this, you know. It's, I think also the audience has that perception.
Right. And that's what I mean about sometimes. And that's also the mindset of the industry sometimes becomes like that, because they just don't see you like that. Whereas you're like, but at least give me that chance. I'm an actor. That's what my job is, to make you believe something that you don't believe. That's what an actor does. We play those parts that are sometimes not real, and we make them come alive. So unless I fail at it, you cannot, you know, discount the fact that he cannot do it or can do it.
And here you have Chunky Pandey. And like, yet again, Chunky Pandey is always Aakhri Pasta for me. Now he's the antagonist here. So Abhay too, are the games more dangerous? And you are also shooting for it simultaneously.
Right.
So, I mean, are the games more dangerous? What can we expect from season 2? Grittier than the first one?
Well, the intention is to do that, because yes, we have interesting crimes this time also. And also because these crimes are all based on true crimes that happen. I get the shivers sometimes when you're reading them and you're like, oh my God, this actually happened. And even when we are shooting them, sometimes it's very disturbing to be on set, because a lot of the gore is there. I mean, it's not gory to the way that you'll feel like you want to throw up, but there is gore, there's darkness, and we have some fantastic actors this time who've kind of come to playing the villains. I mean, starting with, you know, somebody like a Chunky Pandey, there's Ram Kapoor, there's Bibita Bhag, there's Raghav Juel, who's also fantastic, and Indraneel. So it's going to be a mixed bag of these bad guys who are in their own dark worlds. And what's interesting is that also Abhay comes from a bit of a darkness. If you've seen the season 1, he is also a certain way complicated. And this time what's different is that last year in season 1, the threat was from something in his personal life, his past. This time the threat is very much external, and it's time bound. So it is going to be thrilling. It is we've tried to up the ante. That thunder's been stolen out a little bit because of the unfortunate times that we are in.
Yes.
Because we were in the midst of shooting and the scripts were written in a way, and there was a law. It's still bigger, but it was supposed to be way bigger than what we can do now, because a lot of these action sequences or chases that were in crowded streets, or a lot of investigation that happens in, you know, the bylanes of certain crowded areas, unfortunately now is not a possibility. So we had to change a little bit of that, yet keeping intact the story and the drama. So we will miss that. And hopefully, if this does well, season 3 will have all that and more.
I was just waiting for season 3. But do you feel the OTT space also is creatively more satisfying for an actor vis-a-vis a feature film where you pack in everything in 2 hours? And also storylines.
Yeah, of course, it's a different medium altogether. And I think for everybody, for writers also, it gives them the freedom to explore every character and tell a story at length. And it's not about ki isko edit kar do. You know, like with films, sometimes you have to take those calls because it's a different medium. It's a different beast altogether. Whereas when it comes to a long format, whether it is writing, direction, acting, and again, with actors, you get an opportunity to live that character for longer. So how do you make it more interesting? When do you bring in new nuances? And what do you not change about the character? That's also important, because you can't keep changing him because If something's worked and something's liked, then you have to keep that in continuity and maintain that over seasons sometimes.
And also, this is a question I'm sure everyone's asking you. What do you think of the mob that has broken out on social media, who are debating, who have formed their own moral court? And what is your take on it? Whether it's inside, outside, whether it's Nepo kids versus this, what do you think of this entire narrative that's just brewing on social media?
Well, I think right now we're all like audience trying to figure out what it is, because it's like as we speak, I think we'll be able to talk about it once it's away from us or a little bit in the past. We are still in the middle of the storm, the eye of the storm. It's all happening around us. So right now we're trying to just watch, understand. I think understanding is the key. Like it's very important for everybody who's saying something to have a little bit of understanding and not just to, कि सब भाग रहे हैं तो चलो मैं भी भागता हूँ, सब मार रहे हैं तो चलो मैं भी मारता हूँ. बोलो, बिल्कुल बोलो, because that's the beauty of a democracy, the freedom of speech. And I think anywhere it's a good idea to debate about ideas, about ideologies, about problems, about issues, about what you think is right or wrong. But sometimes with all that noise, we lose out the essence. And about certain debates, I just want to say that I hope that by the time we're out of the eye of the storm, it shouldn't look like an explosion that happened. And we should not leave that without any result, which is actually of any, like a progressive thing. Like, we have to benefit from what is being talked about, and not, it shouldn't be detrimental to our already existence.
True. The thing is, it happens in every industry. So do you just feel that the industry you are in has been made, and your colleagues have been made a soft target? Because this is something that exists everywhere, whether it's a corporate world, anywhere. There is an insider, an outsider. Somebody has to work harder. For somebody, sometimes it gets easier. But at the end of the day, it's your talent and your abilities that gets you where you are.
See, it's a very broad area of discussion. Unfortunately, some of them are looking at it in a very microscopic way.
Yeah.
And sometimes we are losing. Like sometimes when I hear something, I don't understand, is this, like, are we talking about generic or are we talking about personal? I don't know what it is. The film industry is always something that is in the public platform anyways. It is a public's, when you say you're an actor, your social life is under the scanner, everybody wants to know because you're a public figure. So this is a public industry. Now, the public has suddenly looked at it and has said कि अभी हम लोग को लग रहा है कुछ गलत है, अभी बोलो. Fair enough.
Yeah.
But as long as those discussions, like I always say, the moment if you antagonize somebody and that person becomes defensive, then that discussion is not going to go anywhere. So that's what I'm trying to say, that when it ends, we better have something that we say that thank God that happened, because we have an answer. Not like kya fayda hua? Because then it's just chatter that I'll say something, you'll say something, I'll abuse you, you'll abuse me, somebody will celebrate me, somebody will curse me, and then we'll move on with life. Then it's pointless.
True. We've all become hashtags. But which is the one change you want to see, that you want your industry to implement? Vis-a-vis could be content, narratives, anything.
I want a fairer marketplace. I'm not even saying insider, outsider, support talent, don't support this one. I think people should only support what they are happy watching. Just because there are 5 people who have come and made this and they say you should support it, that's a wrong reason to kind of say, right? I mean, I can't ask you to come and like a bad film or celebrate a bad film. I have to learn from you that, okay, I made a bad film, I should do this better. I have to learn from you that, oh, I've not acted well in this film. No, I should act better. I have to work on my body because they think my body is not right. So only that has to be supported. We can't make those slightly baseless demands. But at the same time, the industry unfortunately has become a slightly unfair business practice, which is very tilted towards some people and it's very unfair towards the others. That really needs to change. And I think the OTT in some way has given at least an avenue to a lot of those others, very talented people, technicians, actors, directors, to kind of say, okay, here we are. And we've also seen it and seen content and like, oh my God, we are making stuff like this. I couldn't believe it. Like some performances, some actors that we've seen, some shows that have come out in the last few years. So I feel that while that is happening, but the movie industry should not feel कि हाँ अभी तुमको OTT दे दिया, अभी तुम OTT पे रहो. ऐसा नहीं है. The films are also the same. Cinema experience can never be taken and it does not belong to anybody. I think the industry was built by outsiders. It is nobody's. It's not
I agree.
500 years old, but it is slightly tilted in a way that everybody is coming to become an actor.
Same.
मतलब मेरे को खाना खाना है, बनाएगा कौन? अब शेफ ही नहीं है वहाँ पे,
Exactly. Producers,
बनाने
जिन्हें
वाले
भी हैं,
इतने कम है.
exactly. I
हम
agree.
लोग सब प्लेट लेके खड़े हैं कि हमको खाना दे दो, बट बनाने वाला ही नहीं अंदर. तो प्रोड्यूसर ही नहीं बनना है किसी को. Nobody wants to come and say I want to go to school, become a good producer and go and produce films and make top class films and make the business work right. That is also the problem.
I agree. I agree with you. So, I mean, coming on to other things, how has the lockdown been for you? How has the little one been coping, being cooped at home with the parents? I see you doing yoga, playing with her, but I'm sure it must be getting a bit much for, someone so young.
She's very happy. The thing is, she's not even 3, right? She's going to turn 3 in the end of September. So she is loving it because she's got both the parents to her, doing all the activities with her. She's in this phase where she's very happy to say the same story over and over again. I think it would have been, it must be slightly troublesome for parents who have kids who are 7 or 8, who have a life outside the houses and they have a routine and they go to friends' places or they go and play cricket somewhere and they, do all of that. So they are the people who are actually going to have that trouble. For us, she's been very happy to have both of us. Thanks to her, we have a routine. We wake up at her times and we spend the day with her and we, sleep early. So for us, it's been a very, it's been lovely time. And I think she's the one who's brought all the positivity in our life right now.
And I was telling your wife when I met her that your daughter and her cousin are the superstars in the family. The rest of the family are just background actors around them. कि हाँ इनको भी click कर दो. But as a parent, how do you deal with this? She being photographed constantly. I mean, has she realized that the lens is in her face? How do you deal with it? Because sometimes as a parent, I'm sure you do worry about it.
Sure, but I'm saying, see, this is the thing. This is a beast that is very new to us. It's not like something that exists in the nature. कि रात होगी तो बत्ती जलानी पड़ेगी. This is very new. The paparazzi culture did not exist a couple of years ago. It's very new the way it is happening. I cannot also take a hypocritical ground by saying it's wrong, because it's not. Because as an actor, we coexist. We need them, they need us, and that's how it works. But kids are a different entity altogether. They have a different private life. They're not actors. This is not their profession. But I see the interest in that because anyways, in any household, when a kid is born, they become the center of the attraction for them. So I can see why there is a need to see somebody's kid. But fortunately, at least in our country, the paparazzi culture hasn't gone out of hand.
Yeah.
They're still very respectful of certain needs, and we kind of have established a line where we'll do it, and this is not okay. There was a very brief period when it was kind of blurring, when those zoom lenses were used and without anybody knowing, those pictures kind of went out. That's not cool, and I don't appreciate that at all. But this line that I'm talking about is also something that needs to be defined by every person themselves. It may be okay for somebody, not okay for somebody. Somebody might be okay with a lot more and somebody might not want it at all. But in all of this, where I stand is, I'm adapting to this. I don't want to scare my child every time, people with cameras show up, for her to feel that something's gone wrong. She can't be scared of it. So like I said, I don't know where it's going to go. And we'll adapt to it. And when it's not okay, it won't be okay. And I will definitely make myself heard.
But they make the prettiest pictures, she and Taimur, anyways. God bless them, as they say, na nazar nahi lagni chahiye. But that's amazing. But will we see you and your wife collaborating together on a project anytime soon?
I don't know. I mean, we've always maintained for years now that if something comes our way individually that excites us, we'll definitely want to do it. We'll just not do it because it's something that both of us want to do together, because we're also professionals who have certain dreams and aspirations of our own. And if it kind of fixes in the scheme of things, then of course.
On a lighter note, which is that one discovery you've made about Soha in this lockdown, which you had not discovered in the years that you've been together and married?
I have actually, and Soha and I know each other pretty well. So I have to say that I had expected it, and she lived up to my expectations.
It was wonderful chatting with you. So what after Abhay, what can we expect?
I really hope that we all are expecting a vaccine soon so that we can get back to normal and we can plan what to expect. Because right now, I don't know. I mean, right now, Abhay, because it's happening, I don't know what's going to happen, when it's going to open up and when the other shoots are going to start and when it's going to be slightly safer. We all feel very nervous every day that we are out there, because I think I get tested every week when I have an off, like today, tomorrow, day after I have an off. So I'm staying in the hotel today. I'll get tested. My test results come. Then 15th, I would like to go and spend with the family. And the 16th onwards, we start again.
Wow. So any plans you want to direct someday, write or something?
Never say never. I love the industry. I love cinema. I love writing also. I would eventually, hopefully, yes, love to direct. I've been writing more on that when that kind of comes out. But I said I'm somebody since 7 I've been around cinema. I've loved watching it. I've loved being a part of it. I've loved the experience of the whole thing. So yeah, I mean, until the day I am alive, I will do something within this industry.
Thank you so much. And lastly, what would you want to tell your 7-year-old self who first made his debut in Hum Hai Rahi Pyar Ke now? What would this Kunal want to tell him?
The world changes very drastically and very constantly. So it's not going to be exactly the way it is today.
Thank you so much. All the very best. Lovely chatting with you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.